Hey PJs, welcome back to another video. Today I'm reviewing the Lime Sweetpea collab. If you guys have any idea what that is, basically Lime Slimes and Slime Sweetpea had a collab together, and based on how I review these two shops, you might have noticed these two are probably my favorite shops out of anybody. I just love everything about them, so when they did the collab, of course I had to purchase, and it was just like everything I wanted. So I hope you enjoy this longer review. All of the slimes in this video, except for the very last one, are from Lime Slimes. I didn't realize before they did the collab that they wouldn't have a conjoined account or whatever. I know when Trill Slimes and Unicorn Slimes did their collab, they had one website where you could purchase any slimes from either shop, and they didn't. They just kept everything separate, except for the slime ideas were kind of based on each other, or one's just exclusively for this collab. So I did purchase most of them from Lime Slimes. That's just what I wanted to do because most of the slimes that I liked were from that shop, but I do have one from Slime Sweetpea. Everything I got from Lime Slimes was perfectly packaged, nothing cracked. A few of them did leak, which I'll get into a little bit later, but everything else came really nice. The extras were nice and everything. The borax wasn't labeled. Of course, I always recommend labeling that. And I was just super excited to get these. Like, just looking at them here, they're so colorful and they look so good, and I just love all the ideas. All main slime bases came in these screw top lid containers. They're all 7 ounces. The only ones that didn't come in these containers was the extra 8 ounce that I got for free. It was one of their deals, and the clay pieces, obviously. Starting off with this free slime, I have no idea what the texture or scent or anything is because obviously it's an extra, so they don't really have a description for it or anything. But I'm really glad I got this because I really enjoyed the texture. I don't know if it had any clay in it or not. It just felt extremely smooth, and it definitely had instant snow in it. It was a little rippy at first. The slimes weren't necessarily cold or anything. They sat in a room temperature room for, I think it was like 2 days because I was waiting on myself to get motivated to record, whatever. So they weren't necessarily cold, but most of them came kind of rippy and kind of hard to stretch, but the longer I played with them, the stretchier they got. It didn't feel like it was made out of Korean glue, which is usually what happens with those types of slimes, but I have no idea what was going on with these. Regardless, this was a really fun slime. I love that lime color. It is gorgeous, and the texture was just super fun to click and poke, and it had really good bubble pops, and I don't know if it was the color swaying how it smelled to me, but it smelled like honeydew. I talked too long, but starting off the actual review, this is Sunset Glow Sizzly Softy. It is a duo colored Sizzly Softy texture that is scented orange blossom and honey. It comes with iridescent glitter and other assorted add-ins and a sun charm. So the first thing that I noticed, which I didn't even notice in the, when I was recording or anything, and I just noticed it now as I was reading the notes, I was like, wait a minute, this didn't come with a sun charm. I didn't see anything in the packaging, nothing. I'm not really too worried about it. I honestly, for the most part, keep the charms out of the slime when I'm playing with it because it hurts my hands, but I do like to collect them because they're cute, but I just wanted to mention that. So this is the one that I mentioned earlier that spilled. It was all over the outside of the slime. I don't know what the heck happened. I would assume it was overfilled because it was around the lid and everything, but I have no idea what in the actual heck happened. I would assume it dried out a little bit because this one was definitely more on the tough side. All of them did come tough like I mentioned earlier, but this one was definitely the toughest, and the outside felt very wet and stuff, so I would assume it had something to do maybe with the instant snow. I don't know. I just cleaned up the outside. It wasn't really a big deal, but it I don't know. It was weird because it felt so weird and slimy on the outside, but there wasn't physical slime on the outside. Besides that though, this one was probably one of my favorites out of all the slimes I'm reviewing. I loved the texture. I don't know what the base was, but the top felt like a really wet icy slime and the bottom just felt like a regular slime. I don't know what it was, but mixing it together, I couldn't really describe this any other way except sizzly and soft, so I see why they call it a Sizzly Softy. It's definitely a unique texture, really fun to play with. The wetness does mostly go away, but there's a lot of residue in my opinion, more than I'd want. It kind of felt like the outside of the jar that the slime was being held in. It felt slimy, it dried sticky. I don't really know what does that, if it's the instant snow or what it is, but It was definitely more than I personally would have liked, but this one was just so fun to play with. This slime inflated pretty easily and was really fun to inflate. It had those inflation bubble pops I talk about all the time where you're stretching it, trying to inflate it, and the slime just has random bubble pops from time to time. I love those so much. And this slime is just super fun, especially when it inflated. That's the sizzly part that I was talking about. They described it perfectly, and I really need more of these because it was so fun to play with. I'm also obsessed with the scent. It smells like a fragrance or flower version of orange creamsicle. It smells like orange, like orange creamsicle, but it smells like if it was a flower or someone like sprayed it like perfume. Because of that residue, I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5 pajamas, but I still am obsessed with this one. The second slime for this review is Pastel Taiyaki Ice Cream. It is a white clay slime base scented gummy bear and fruit sorbet. It comes with a 3-ounce green snow fizz slime, a pastel clay scoop, a taiyaki fish charm, and sprinkles. I also don't know if it was intentional, but this one was actually underfilled compared to the last one, which was overfilled, which I didn't mind. It actually fit perfectly with the green snow fizz, which I talk about that all the time. If there's going to be extra slime scent and there's no extra container, there should be room left. But this one, since it was a DIY clay, had that extra container, but had it not, and they had sent like just the green snow fizz, I could have fit everything in this container and I would have been so satisfied. Like, that's the way to go, and I love that thought. The base feels like a gummy clay, so like if a clay slime was not like a gummy bear, but like gummy, I don't know. It feels gummy, but it's really fun to play with, and it had loud bubble pops, kind of like how thick and glossy slimes do, but it didn't spray slime everywhere like thick and glossy slime bubble pops do, because I mentioned that in a comment the other day. There was actually a time where slime got flung into my eye from a bubble pop like that, and it gets a little out of hand. This slime base was definitely one of those ones that I liked so much that mixing in the clay was a little painful for me because I just liked it so much and I would love it as its own slime. Regardless though, mixing it was such a fun experience, especially since there was that snow fizz slime. It just added that extra oomph of mixing it together because that adds another texture that you get to feel as you're mixing the slime together. And that clay scoop is adorable. I love the sprinkles on top, and pastel colors in clay pieces I think look the best. Once fully mixed, the slime turns into a pastel green colored slime. It feels like a super soft clay fizz with a ton of sizzles. There's also bubble pops, amazing inflation, and even when it gets fully inflated, there's like almost no tackiness, which I mention that all the time because I really don't like tackiness. In some slimes it's necessary, but when it doesn't happen, I will like jump for joy because I just don't like that feeling. I think I'm in a weird spot of calling slime scents artificial, but that's just, I don't know, I think a lot of them have been smelling artificial to me lately, and that's not a bad thing. Like, if anything, it's a good thing, because if it smelled too realistic, then I might either want to eat it or I might want to throw it away because it would gross me out, you know, because it's slime. But anyways, this smells like an artificial fruit thing, so technically that is gummy bear, which is part of what this is scented. So I think they nailed it because it smells like an artificial fruit and then somehow a gummy and whatever. It smells really good and kind of fresh, so it's like a refreshing scent but a fruity scent. This slime of course gets 5 out of 5 pajamas. Next is Moon Spellbook. It is a DIY cloud cream dough with a wood glue base that is blush colored, scented champagne toast and marshmallow fireside. It comes with a book clay piece, a key clay piece, and a 1.5 ounce clear slime with assorted add-ins. So if you listen to that whole thing of me explaining this slime, this is a very intricate DIY, which I love them. I love so many different slimes. I probably say that too much, but the intricate ones just make me feel special because I get to like put things together almost like a little puzzle, and then I get to like mix it and stuff, and then there's a ton of different things to mix in, so it feels different, and it makes me really happy. Also, for a big bonus, this base is what I call a true cloud cream. I've said it before, cloud cream textures have changed, and now a lot of people seem to add clay to them and they're called cloud creams. I don't know, I think clay is just in too many things, but it's a true cloud cream. It doesn't have clay in it, and it used to be one of my favorite textures. It was like the first different texture I made that wasn't like a regular slime or a butter slime, and I used to love them so much, so seeing them coming back a little bit just makes me very happy also. And that 1.5 ounce slime, it's got pigment in it. Like, the pigment isn't even gonna go through like and shine when everything is mixed together, which does suck, but the fact that they added pigment is just another level of detail to this. Like, there's so much detail to this, and they put so much thought into it, and I love it. And also, speaking about that 1.5 ounce slime, it felt coated. I don't think it really matters. It probably keeps some of the tackiness at bay, but it felt coated, and I liked all the like little fancy Jim Jam thingies that were in it, like the moons and stars and whatever the heck was in it. It looked very beautiful. Of course, mixing this together was super fun, and the ending resulting texture definitely reminded me of a bread slime, which people don't make anymore, and I would assume that wasn't really the intended outcome, or maybe people just don't call them bread slimes anymore, but they're a really fun texture. Less instant snow and probably a little less clay than snow butters, so kind of in that category, but it's really fun to play with. It does leave some residue, but really not enough to notice. I usually just check my hands after I play with a slime just to see if there is any, so I can mention it, because I like to mention every tiny little baby detail, but not enough to really take notice. The only thing I didn't like about this slime is it turns into a mustard, like a very vibrant mustard yellow color, and I know of course it's because of the book, and I didn't really think it would make like so much color come through from that book, but it really did, and it looks like mustard, and I'm not a huge fan. Maybe some people are, and yellow slimes aren't very common, but it just doesn't look that great to me. I think I just really don't like yellow. This smells exactly as described, and I think I'm gonna have to let my mom smell it. Marshmallow Fireside is one of her favorite scents. She has it all the time, so she would love this one. This slime's texture is definitely interesting, maybe a little weird, but it does have a very squishable texture to it, and it inflates pretty slow. This slime gets 5 out of 5 pajamas. The fourth slime for this review is called Autumn Club. It is an orange colored icy cream scented chestnut, brown sugar, and warm cinnamon. It comes with a 1.5 ounce clear slime and assorted add-ins. So of course I had to get this one. Fall is my favorite season, and this one is all about fall, and as I'm recording this, like, I was so happy today when I got up. I'm just in a happy mood because it is in the 60s for me, and it feels so good. Tomorrow's gonna be in the 50s. It is my favorite weather, and I'm just so stoked for fall. I was a little scared to get this one. Anytime I hear the word cinnamon in a scent for slime, I'm like, it's gonna take over. I get like flashbacks to when I had other cinnamon scented slimes, and they gave me headaches and stuff. This one wasn't too bad. It smells really warm, and basically what you think all the slime scents that are in this would smell like. It smells really warm, definitely like fall. The cinnamon takes over just a little more than I'd like, but it's tolerable and it still smells really good. Although the mixing may seem plain on this one compared to the last two, this one was probably my favorite. I just love the two oranges mixing together. It was super gorgeous, and of course it looks like fall. Like, why wouldn't I like it? And this one didn't come with a ton of add-ins, you know, like not a lot, but this is one of those instances where I actually think that less is more, because the leaves actually stick through, and there would be probably I don't know, it would look too sparkly and stuff if there were too many leaves in this, but it has just the right amount that reminds me of falling leaves, so I think it was perfect. This slime did start off very wet, and the more you play with it, the wetness mostly leaves, but once you stop playing with it and it gets to sit for a while, it will come back. It's mostly like a surface wetness, you know, once you actually get it mixed into the slime, it goes away. This does have instant snow in it, obviously, so there is some residue. Again, it's like the last one. It's not really enough to where you're going to take notice unless you try. I've always been scared to go after textures like icy slimes because there's so many things that can go wrong with them, but this slime and the first slime I reviewed were both icy based, and I really enjoyed them. The bubble pops are really loud, and it's just super sizzly and soft, and this one in particular is really holdable. It does inflate some, which is great, and it's just one of those ones that I've talked about before where you could really do almost anything with it. It could be holdable, it could be a table slime, it's got sizzles, bubble pops, inflation, all those good things. Liking slime textures is really subjective, but I think when you can get somebody like me or anybody who doesn't like a specific texture and get them to like it. So for me, I usually don't like ices, and obviously this is an icy cream, so halfway there. But if you can get somebody like that, or me or whatever, to like a slime, you're doing something right. Once again, this slime gets 5 out of 5 pajamas. The fifth and final slime from Lime Slimes is called Touch the Starry Sky. It is a deep blue colored DIY clay with a jelly base, scented lightly like night air. It comes with an ombre cloud clay piece with freckles of gold dust, assorted females, and sequins. Most of the slimes in this collab had descriptions of why they were added, why Lime Slimes created them in response for Slime Sweetpea, things like that. And I didn't mention any other ones, but I wanted to mention this one because it was really cool. I reviewed a slime a few weeks ago from Slime Sweetpea called Touch the Sky, and I loved that one so much, and this one is based off of that slime that she made, and I thought it was so cool that Lime Slimes made their own version of it, so I wanted to try this one too, and I am so glad I did. Firstly, this base is incredible. I don't play with jelly slimes very often because they seem to be some of the most tacky slimes when inflated, and honestly, after they inflate, I kind of get a little bored, but this one was really good. It was very thick and juicy at the same time. The color is gorgeous. I don't know how they made it that deep, but it is so pretty. I definitely urge you guys to go back a little bit and watch the clips again before it kind of got a little more inflated, because the color is almost illuminating. Like, you can see it on my hands if you look close enough. It's reflecting off of my hands. And the best way I could describe the color is it looks like frozen water. Not ice exactly, because, that's what ice is, but if water was frozen but it wasn't ice. That's what the color looks like, and I'm obsessed with it. Because of the description, I went into this knowing that the scent was going to be light because it said that or whatever, but I was really hoping that it would be scented just a little stronger, and that's just, I would like it to be scented more. It's lightly scented, probably because of the clarity of the jelly slime, or maybe just to be considerate for people who don't like a lot of scent, things like that. But it smells really good. It smells like those $400 tiny colognes you can get where they're too fancy to say perfume and they say parfum instead. Those irk me so much. I know that's probably how you're actually supposed to say it or whatever. I don't know, but they're so fancy. It smells just super fancy cologne. It smells so good, and I love it. I would stick my nose in this slime if I wasn't scared that I'd get skin cells or whatever in it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Every time you play with slime, you put skin cells in it. Maybe I'm just too scared to put slime in my nose, but I would stick my nose in this. I talked through the whole mixing process, but once the clay is mixed, the slime gets a lot softer. It turns into a snow clay, not exactly a snow butter, but a snow clay. It's got a bluish purple color that looks really pretty, and it's got watery bubble pops that I really like. They just sound like water. The slime also inflates quadruple the size of the normalness, whatever, if not even more. It inflates a lot. I did kind of freak out a little bit right here. I got that urge to eat this slime because it's that cute. If you see a cat or a dog and a lot of people say, oh my gosh, it's so cute, I could eat it, because our bodies just can't understand cuteness, so we just automatically try to eat whatever we're talking about. I got that with this slime. So of course this slime gets 5 out of 5 pajamas. The final slime is from Slime Sweetpea. It came in this package, nothing cracked, nothing leaked, everything came perfectly wrapped and everything. Just like the last time I purchased, there wasn't any business card borax, things like that. I don't know if they offer them anymore, maybe they just don't send them because I only purchased one slime. I don't know, but of course I always recommend sending them. I also got this extra 2, maybe 3-ounce slime as like a thank you, which I thought was really cool because I got one from her and I got one from Lime Slimes, so that's pretty cool. This one is like the complete opposite of that other one though, in like how the slime is. It's like a slushy bead slime, which I haven't had in like 2 years. It's weird to have one because I just don't get them anymore. I don't think a lot of people sell them, but it's got like these cute little blue flowers in them, and I couldn't tell you what it's scented, but it smells good. So the slime I got is called Fall at Limeville. It is a vibrant orange bingsu and sorbet texture with a bit of clay, scented butter pecan, buttered popcorn, lightly like bubblegum, and orange sherbet, whatever you want to call that word. It comes with a clay door, mushroom charm, assorted sprinkles, and Fimos. So this is the second fall themed slime I've gotten from the shops. I don't know if they both also really like fall like I do, you know, so they're like sharing their love of fall because they both like it or whatever, but of course I gotta get it because, you know, it's fall themed, and this one was gorgeous, especially that clay door. Like, how cool is that? Like, it's a clay door. Who does that? I also love all the random add-ins. There were just so many different types, and it just looks really good in the slime. And I don't know if the slime is supposed to come duo colored, or maybe if it just separated in transit, but it did come with 2 separate colors. And I thought it looked really good. That's why I didn't play with the base before I added the door. Looking back, I don't think it was supposed to be duo colored, but I thought it looked really good, and I didn't want to mess it up before I mixed in the clay. From what I could feel from the base, it was a very smooth, juicy texture. I really wish I had played with it before I added the clay because I feel like I would have really enjoyed that as well. The clay itself was extremely thin, so it was very fragile, probably the most fragile clay piece I've ever worked with, and I even broke it a little bit before I added it to the slime, but we're not going to speak about that topic because it looked perfect, because I do everything perfect. Since the clay was so little and there really wasn't a lot to it, mixing it didn't really change the base texture at all. Honestly, I didn't even really feel the clay mixing in. I just saw it mix in, if that makes sense, because it was a different color. But after mixing it, I mean, I didn't actually get to play with the base, obviously, but if I were to assume anything, it just made the base a lot more poofy when you inflate it, and maybe slightly less tacky. I don't know. Again, I kind of failed and didn't play with the base. I regret that so much, but I did really like the texture. It does feel exactly as described. It's got all those different components in it, and it feels really cool. It inflates a lot. It stays non-tacky, and it's just a super fun slime. And I don't really have anything besides good things to say about it, so that's always good. There were a lot of different scent components for this slime, but mostly I smell movie popcorn. I don't know if all movie popcorn smells the same, because like there's scents out there that just everybody agrees smells the exact same. I don't know if movie popcorn is one of those, but it smells exactly like the movie popcorn from where I go to see movies. This slime does get 5 out of 5 pajamas. And with that, that is the end of this review, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't checked out either of these slime shops, and you can, I definitely recommend it. I have loved each and every slime I've gotten from both of these slime shops. No problems or anything. They are excellent. I think I've slowly gotten better with my ASMR clips at the end of each slime so that you guys can like listen to the ASMR and everything, but if that's still not enough, I do link my TikTok down below after every video. There I post ASMR clips of each and every slime that I've reviewed. And if you made it this far, comment down below what your favorite slime from this video was. But now I am signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one.